All right, everybody, we're going to get ready to start your final for the self-portrait and your actual self-portrait drawing. In order to be ready to follow the instructions in this video, you need to have an 11 by 17 drawing paper. This is a little bigger than we normally have, but I want to make sure that we have space for your backgrounds and your shoulders and maybe even your hair. We need your printed photo that I gave you in class. You need painter's tape, a 2H pencil, and again, I'm going to use my regular number 2 pencil so that you can see it on the camera, but you need to make sure you're using that 2H super light. And you need a ruler to get going. So let's go ahead and get started. So just as a refresh, you're going to be using your folded picture to get correct proportions on your self-portrait one side at a time. And the first step that we need to do for that is to measure the bottom of the paper to figure out where the middle is and where you'll need to line up your picture. So we're going to start down here at the bottom, and we're looking for the middle of 11 inches, which is 5.5. So that's right between the 5 and the 6, and it's that little middle line in there. I'm going to go up here a little bit and just go, a little ways up and very lightly make a little mark at the 5.5, and again that's halfway between 5 and 6 right here. So now I have a couple of places that I can line it up, and it's a very light mark that will not stay on your picture, but it's just barely there so that you can see where to line up your picture after you get it folded. Next, you'll take the painter's tape, and you take just a little piece. You don't need a big piece, maybe about an inch of painter's tape, and you're going to stick it on your clothes somewhere. Okay, so somewhere nice and linty. I'm wearing a hoodie right now. I'm going to stick it on the inside because that's just a ball of fuzz. And I'll put it there for a little bit because we want it to stick, but we don't want it to pull the paper off when we remove it because your picture's not going to stay taped on here. And so you need to make sure that that's ready. All right, so this picture, as you can see, has already been folded a lot of times, but I decided to use it anyway because it shows how the line isn't right in the center of the photograph. You're aiming for a line in the center of the face, not in the center of the actual picture. So if we fold it like this, you can see how it's crookedy, but it's right in the middle of her face. When you're using a fresh picture that hasn't been folded, you have to kind of pinch it right in the center like this, and then you check it real close. So I'm pinching right between the nose and the mouth, trying to get right in the middle of the Cupid's bow. Okay, so we get it folded like that, and you're sure of it, and then you make the crease more straight. If you have a hard time doing this or it makes you feel very, very nervous, let me know and I will come and help you. So what we do next is you'll start with, we want to start with the left side if we're right-handed, the right side if we're left-handed, and line up your picture along those 2 marks that we just made. And then it's time to take the tape out, and when I pull the tape off, I put it back down a couple of times like this to get some of the lint on it so that it's just not so sticky. And then I use it to tape down the top of the picture. Okay, so here we go. Now we're ready to get started. And what we're going to do from here is make little marks to let us know where the face needs to be lined out. There's these little registration marks so that we know our proportions when we're doing our drawing. So for this picture, I would start by making one, right about there. Okay, because that's where her top is, and I'll need to make sure that it's lined up there on the other side. And then I'll make a little mark at the bottom of her chin. Okay, and then I'm going to make the middle mark for her lips, and then very light the top and the bottom of her lips. I'm not going to draw them all out. It is really, really difficult, not impossible, but really, really difficult to take this side and draw it over here and flip it in your mind. It isn't necessary. All we're trying to get with this is where the facial features should line up to help with your proportions. That's it. So next I'm going to go and do a little bit of the nose, right? And just draw that little part. After that, I'm going to do the eyes. So I can go like this with my pencil and see how wide her eyes are, right? And then her next eye should be one of its own eye widths away. So I'm going to go like this and make a little mark. And then draw a little line that comes out for the eye line. And that should give me my eye line, and then this is where the carbuncle should start approximately. Okay? And then, whoa! Maybe we don't throw our pencils. We'll go like that, and then here I'm going to draw a little line for about where the eyebrow is supposed to go. Got a little line for the hairline, little line for the top of the head. Okay, now we check and we make sure we have everything. Got there, all the features lined up. Okay, that's great. Now I'm going to pull the tape off and take it off the top, and then I'm going to line it back up. So I have these two marks to line it up with, right? But then I also need to scoot it over just a little bit so that I can see the little registration marks that I made, and then carefully keeping it even, slide it up to my two little dashes, because I want to make sure when I'm continuing the registration that I'm making it bigger, right? So I want to make sure that I am having the lines line up with the lines. So now that I have it set like this, let me get bigger, I can kind of check like this. Okay, so that'll line up here. And then if you're not quite sure, mostly if I turn my head to the side, I can see where the lines are going to come out, right? But if you need to, without really moving the paper, do you see how I'm just kind of sneaky peeking? The sneaky peeks help so that you can see where everything should go, right? Without having to move everything a lot. Now let's do the same thing with our eyes over here. So we're measuring her eye, and it works better with the other hand. I'm gonna have to try this with my left hand, so just like this. Bring it over, make a little mark, and that should be approximate. Now you have to look at it when you open it up to see, you know, where it really should go, and it looks like her hair's actually kind of taller over here. Okay, cool. So now I have all of my registration marks, and it doesn't look like much, but you can kind of see the echoes of our facial proportion practice in this situation that I have going on here. You can see how all of the registration lines are here. So what you do now that you have it opened up, this is when you're going to start filling in your details. So I think we'll do filling in the details as a separate video. So I'm going to stop this and start again.